Hi, I'm Michele Waalkes. I am a mixed media artist from Canton, Ohio. Today on Do the Mew, we are going to be creating iris paper folded hearts. Iris paper folding is really just folding paper following a template, so it ends up looking like the iris of a camera, the lens. So today you can either make cards to send to people that you love, or you can create a heart that you can frame when you're finished. So I want to go over what we're going to need so that you're ready to go. So the first thing that we need is a scissors, a ruler, a pencil, masking tape, and I need you to have a copy of the template that I made. This you can either get at the MassMu Museum, or you can download this and print it yourself. You just need one copy. Okay? And the other thing you need is some paper. So I need you to come up with either 3 different colors of paper, or you can also make it, remember, you can make it monochromatic. You can just make it all one color. That looks really cool too. Now, your paper can be copy paper that you have laying around. You can use scrap paper. How many people have old scrap paper from their scrapbooking days, or book pages, or pages from an atlas, or like I did in the frame piece, you can just cut down a paper bag from the store. Just use whatever you have. And the last thing you need is some heavy paper like cardstock. You can either use the whole sheet if you're going to frame it, and then you're going to trace your outline on there, or you can fold the paper in half to make a big card. If you're going to make a card, this is probably the right size to start with. It's a little bit trickier if you cut it down to a 4x6 size. You can try it. It still works. I had no problem doing it, but for the first time, maybe start with something a little bit bigger. Okay, now let's get started. Find that template with the hearts on it, and I need for you to cut the bottom heart, the plain heart. Cut that out nice and neatly. This is going to be your template to create this cutout for your heart. Okay, now grab your cardstock and your heart template that you just cut out, and you are going to decide where you want to place your heart on your cardstock. But keep in mind, you don't want to put pencil lines on the front of your card, so you're going to open it up and you're going to trace your heart on the inside cover, wherever you want it to go. It can be centered or toward the top or bottom. You decide. If you're going to frame your artwork as well, you're going to want to do that on the back so that you won't have any pencil marks to show on the front. So after you trace it, then it's time to cut this out. Now this time you're just going to cut it so you have nice, neat edges. It doesn't matter how many cuts you have on the inside of your heart. You just want the outside to be nice and neat. What I find the easiest is to take a pencil or a sharp pair of scissors and just puncture a little hole in there so you can get your scissors into that hole to start cutting. You're just going to go nice and slow and try to follow those lines the best you can. But when you're finished cutting, it should look like this. This is going to be your card, and you're going to be working on the back. All right, next, grab your colored paper, and again, if you're going to do all one color, just grab that paper, and you're going to cut those into 1-inch strips lengthwise on your paper. So it doesn't have to be exactly 1 inch, so if you want to just trace the widths of your ruler and just cut some lengths that are 1 inch wide approximately, that's great. If you are lucky enough to have a paper cutter, have at that. So you're going to cut these into 1-inch widths. Then you're going to take these and you're going to just fold them in half so that the whole thing has a fold. It doesn't have to be exact. You're looking for a nice, crisp fold because that's the part that's going to show on the inside of your iris heart. Okay? So take all your papers and fold them in half lengthwise. And then we're going to cut them into 3-inch lengths. So get your ruler out and cut it into about 3-inch lengths. It doesn't have to be exact, and some of them you might end up cutting down because they're too long. That's okay. We'll just start with them 3 inches so that you can get started. You can always cut them down. So take all your papers and fold them all in half. So you need to cut enough paper so that you have 10 3-inch strips of paper that will correspond with your A section. You're going to need 9 3-inch strips of paper folded for your B section. And you're going to need 11 3-inch strips of paper folded over for section C. That needs a few more pieces of paper. So double check. Everybody's cutting different shapes and sizes of paper depending on what you have available. So it's hard to give you an exact amount of what you need. So just cut 1-inch strips until you get 10 3-inch strips of A, your color A, 9 3-inch strips of your color B, and 11 3-inch strips of your color C. Now grab your template paper again, and this time I want you to just cut out this lower color key at the bottom. You're going to need that for reference, so just cut that right out so you can have it handy to look at as we're making our iris paper folding hearts. Next you're going to take the template and you're going to take the cardstock and you're going to put the cardstock right over your template and align it. You need to make sure that the front of your cardstock goes down. You want the back, the wrong side, facing you. That's the side that's going to get the tape all over it. So you're going to align it and then you're going to tape it. Now the easiest way is often to tape it to each other, but you don't want to get tape on the opposite side and you don't want to get tape on the front. So take your tape and you're just going to, sometimes it's easier, I find, if I tape the bottom to the counter or the table, just so it won't move. Line it up, and then just tape it down. Try not to get any tape on the front or on the other side. Those are the good sides. You're going to cover this side up, so you don't care if it has tape on it and if it leaves a little residue. So once you get it all lined up, then you're going to start putting your folded paper following this template. So I want you to find what you chose for color A. Find one of color A. So here's my color A. Now I'm going to put it right where the 1 is, and I'm going to go right up to the line. I put the fold facing the inside. You always want the fold to show. The open side goes outward. No one cares about that. So put your fold on the line right below number 1. And you're just going to tape this down. Now, it doesn't matter where your tape goes. This is all going to be covered up, but you don't want your tape to go over on the other side if you're making a card. So just be careful that you stay on the one side. All right, next I'm going to choose color B. Here's my color B, and I'm going to find number 2 on my pattern. I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to line up the fold on number 2. Right where the line is. And I'm going to tape my paper down. Remember, the fold always goes to the middle. Find your color C. Here's my color C. I'm going to put that on number 3. I line it up to where my number 3 line is, fold side in, and I tape that down. Now I'm going to go back to my color A because I'm going back to number 4. So I followed 1, 2, 3. Now 4 is overlapping the last color A. If you look at your color key, that's what reminds you what each color is. But you're mostly just going to go around the circle of your heart clockwise. Color B is going to go on number 5. So you put it right on the line by the number 5. You want to make sure you're following those lines, and you tape it down. Now you have to be very careful. You don't want the tape to show through this hole, so always make sure that your tape goes far from the edges of your heart. Otherwise, you risk that it's going to show when you're all finished. All right, so I've got A, B. Now I need to do a color C. That's going to go on number 6. Line it up, fold side in, tape it down. Yes, this will look uglier and uglier, but we're going to cover this all up, so it doesn't matter. All right, now we're back to color A again. You're going to keep doing this. 7, 8, 9. Keep following your numbers and keep going around until you get to number 28. That's when things change a little bit. So color A. Now we're going to do color B on number 8. Just keep going in chronological order. Keep the fold side in. Keep double checking that the fold goes to the inside. You don't want any tape showing. Keep that lined up nice and neatly. This is number 8. Color C for number 9. Line it up and tape it. You're just going right up to that line on the template, and that's what's creating the pattern. As long as you follow the template, you'll get that iris design. Now number 10 on color A. Number 10. Now you see my tape was about to go over, so I just pushed it back a little bit because you don't want it to show. Color B goes on number 11. Tape it down. Color C goes on number 12. Keep that fold side right on the line. And we're back to A again. So A is going to go on number 13. See how we're just going around and around? It's all the same until we get to about number 28, and that just changes just slightly at the very end there. This will be our last A. Color A is 28. Line that up and tape it down. Now, 29 and 30 are both going to be C. No more B's or A's. So you're going to take 2 of your C color, and you are going to take 1 strip and line it up for 29. And another will go on 30. That will be your last one. Now this leaves that little triangle that was in the iris right in here. If you want that to be another color, you can just put that behind there. So if you wanted it to be white, you can just tape whatever color you want on there. So our last piece of paper is 30. Tape that one down. And now, before we move this at all, we're going to just tape around everything just to reinforce. We don't want anything popping up when we take it up off of the table. So just take some tape and reinforce with nice long strips. Reinforce all your smaller papers just to make sure that they're going to stay nice and sturdy. Again, we're going to cover this all up with a backing paper, so this will all be hidden. All right, after you get it nice and secure, you can gently take off your pieces of paper, or tape, I'm sorry. Try not to rip off any of your paper. And then the moment of truth, the big reveal. And here's our card. It's all finished. It's got the folds that make it the iris paper folding process that we just learned today. Now, remember that triangle, you can leave whatever your backing paper is going to be. We're going to cut a piece of paper the same size, and that's what's going to be taped to the back so that you don't see all your tape. But you can also decide to use one of the colors from your pattern. You can put those behind and change up the look depending on how you want it to be. You can also use an alternate color. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to put tape glue along the edges. If you have double stick tape, you can use that too. Put glue on the edges, and then you're going to glue down the backing paper. So let's do that in a minute. Take my glue. I have some Fabri-Tac, but if you've got Elmer's, doesn't matter what kind of glue you use, and you're just going to put it along the edges. You want it to stick onto your card. After you get the glue all the way around the edges, line it up and put it right on your card. Line it up with the edges of the card and then push down. You're going to want to make sure that all the edges are secure. And what I usually do is close it and then put a book on top of it so that it stays secure. And now you're ready to send your card. If you enjoyed today's iris paper folding, there are so many free patterns online. You can use the one that you used today again and again, but there's also some free assorted designs that you can find online. Here's just a few examples. I hope you enjoyed today's project for Do the Mew, and I hope that you will send out your card and help share the love and brighten someone's day. Thanks so much.